learners, I'm Sakshi Tiwari and I welcome you to our new lesson. Well, let's think about everything you've done today. Maybe you woke up, you brushed your teeth, you ate your breakfast and then walked to your classroom or maybe worked. Now these words like woke, brushed, ate and walked, what do we call these words? They tell us about the actions that we performed, right? What do we call them? Well, we call them verbs. Yes, and today we are going to talk about them in detail. What are verbs? Let's get into it. I welcome you to our new lesson, which is verbs, where we are going to learn what verbs are and what are the different types of verbs, right? So let's get into it. First thing first, what are verbs? See, verbs are words that describe what someone or something is doing or what is actually happening. They are the action words that bring a sentence to life. Okay, let me give you some examples. For example, I run to the park every morning. Now here the word run tells us what I'm actually doing. Now she eats an apple. Here eat shows the action of eating, right? This word. The next one being he is happy. Here it shows the state of being happy, right? Now in short, verbs are the words that tell us what happens or what someone does, like playing, talking, jumping, feeling or being, right? Now without verbs, our sentences would not make sense or they would not show actions. Do you know there are many types of verbs like stative, action, transitive, intransitive, etc. Now let's get into it, okay? Let me talk about the first type of verb, which is stative verb. Now stative verbs describe a state or condition rather than an action, okay? Now these verbs show things that are static, okay? And they are not moving or not changing. They usually describe feelings, thoughts, possession or senses. For example, she is a teacher. Okay, now is a stative verb here. I know the answer. Know is a stative verb. They believe in magic. Believe is a stative verb. Okay, now how to identify? Stative verbs describe a situation that doesn't change or a feeling or a condition. They usually don't show physical actions. Alright, now words like know, like, belong, seem, feel, they're often stative verbs. Alright, so these are stative verbs. The next type of verbs are, second ones, action verbs. These are verbs that show actions, what someone or something is doing, okay? Let me give you an example. He runs every day. Now, run is an action verb here. She eats lunch at noon. Now, eating is, of course, an action verb. I teach students, right? Now here teaching is an action verb, right? Now how to identify these verbs? See, if any word describes something or someone that somebody can do physically, like running, jumping, playing, talking, it means it's an action word, an action verb. All right, great. The third ones are transitive verbs. Now transitive verbs are the action verbs that need a direct object to complete their meaning. Now these verbs transfer the action to something or someone. Okay, transfer. They transfer the action to something or someone. Jesse, she ate an apple. Now she ate what? An apple. He wrote a letter. He wrote what? A letter. Okay, so how to identify if the action is being done to something, like eating the apple, writing a letter, it is transitive verbs. These verbs need an object to make sense of what is being spoken. Alright, the fourth ones are intransitive verbs. Okay, now intransitive verbs are action verbs, okay, that do not require a direct object. Now the action happens, but it does not act on anything or anyone. Let me give you some examples like the baby sleeps peacefully. Okay, they arrived maybe late, all right, and we can take this one more example, right? So how to identify if the verb is not followed by a direct object and the sentence still makes sense? It is an intransitive verb. The action does not affect anything else. All right, I hope you're able to understand. The fifth ones are dynamic verbs. Dynamic verbs describe actions or activities that involve movement or change. Now these verbs are about things that things that can happen or that can be done. For examples, I run every morning. Okay, now again, yes, we play football after school. Yes, and the third one. So how to identify if the verb describes something that is happening or changing? It's a dynamic verb. Okay, these verbs often show the actions that can be observed or measured. Okay, I hope you're able to understand. The sixth ones are linking verbs. Now linking verbs, or maybe helping verbs, they connect the subject of the sentence to more information about the subject, often describing a state or a condition. For example, the sky is blue. Now here is a linking verb. Okay, he seems tired. Now here seems is tired. Okay, yes, and this third example. And how to identify? See, if the verb links the subject to a description or state, it's a linking verb. All right, common linking verbs or helping verbs are is, are, was, feel, seem, yes, etc. Right? Great. So these were the types of verbs. Like stative verb, it shows the state or conditions like know, believe, seem. The second ones were the action verbs. They show what someone is doing, running, jumping, talking. Yes. The third ones, transitive verbs. They require a direct object like eating, writing. Intransitive verbs, they do not require a direct object like sleeping, arriving. Dynamic verbs, they show actions or movements like running, playing, right? Linking verbs, they connect the subject to a description or or to a state. For example, is, was, were, seems, etc. How to identify a verb? See, ask yourself what is happening. If it's an action, it's probably the action verb. Ask, does the sentence need something to complete the meaning? If yes, if you answer yes, it's probably a transitive verb. Okay, and if the verb describes a state, it describes a state of being or condition, it's most likely to be a stative or a linking verb. All right, great. So by identifying the type of verb, you can actually better understand how it works in a sentence. Right? Excellent. Now, how about we practice some? Okay, I'm going to ask you 5 questions, and all that you have to do is to pick the correct option if it's an action verb, stative verb, transitive verb, or intransitive. All right. The first one, she's tired. It is a stative verb. Tired describes a state of being and not an action. Do we do tired? No. We work and then we get tired. So stative verbs are used to express a state, condition, or situation. Right? The second one, I eat lunch at 12 p.m. Okay. It's an action verb. Eat is an action verb. Eat describes an action, something that is actively being done, right? And action verbs express physical or mental actions. The third one, they belong to the same team. It's a stative verb, right? Belong expresses a state of possession, having, right? Or relationship, and not an action. Stative verbs describe conditions, situations that do not involve any physical involvement or movement. Okay? The next one, I read a book every night. It is a transitive verb, right? Now read is transitive verb because it has a direct object, which is a book, right? And transitive verbs require a direct object to complete their meaning. Yes? The last one, how about you answer this one as well? We watched a movie yesterday. Okay, again, it's a transitive verb, right? Watched is a transitive verb because it has a direct object, which is a movie. Transitive verbs, as shared, they need a direct object to complete the action, right? Great. I hope you were able to answer all of these correctly, and with this we've come to the end of our lesson, where today we talked about what verbs are and what are the types of verbs. We explored the action verbs, stative verbs, transitive verbs, and intransitive verbs, right? Remember, verbs are the words that actually tell us what someone or something is doing, okay? Or how they're feeling. See, whether it's running, feeling happy, or singing a song, verbs make our sentences come to life. Okay, action verbs show what we do, like run or jump. Stative verbs tell us about feelings or states, like, is, feel. Transitive verbs need something to act on, like kicking, eating, and intransitive verbs don't need anything to act on, like sleeping and laughing. Right? Great. I hope you had fun learning about verbs today. Keep practicing like this, and you'll become experts in no time. Additionally, if you're looking forward to mastering English, you can check for these ebooks. Where to find them? You can check. You can follow me on my Instagram account. Check the stories, there you'll find it. Okay, so I'll see you in the next lesson. Till then, keep learning, keep growing. Happy learning.